Hello and welcome to Quest Me, the Star Wars podcast that takes you on a quest through legends and new canon. My name is Josh, and I am your forever host and slug-tossing creepy uncle. Joining me tonight is my lovely co-host and real-life hero. His name is Justin. How you doing this week?
First off, those were not slugs. Those looked like roly-polies from space.
Whatever, dude.
Come on, those things were awesome. But
Yeah,
I'm well. How everything's good. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for asking.
Always.
Yeah, just hanging out, ready to talk more Star Wars. Hey, Jake, how's it going, my dude? Thanks for coming in today.
You ready to geek out?
I am. I'm ready to geek out about certain things, but there are other things
that
I'm
tone
ready
of voice. The tone.
Man, we'll get there. But before, of course, we have to introduce our other new permanent co-host. His name, of course, is Phil. How are you doing, dude?
Doing well. Had to double check, make sure I was off mute. Had to double check.
No,
Good evening, everybody.
Bill.
It's been a good week. How y'all doing?
I think I just thought of a new song for you.
Oh,
We're gonna do the Bill Nye thing.
Yes.
but Phil.
All right.
Phil
All right,
Nye, the
No.
bartending guy. I don't. Barista.
Be like Phil K, the librarian tender or something. I don't know. I gotta find a way that the pronunciation works. It'll work. We'll figure it out next week. I'll have.
I wish you good luck.
Oh man, don't challenge me, Phil. But it's great to have you guys here as always. Good to see Justin's not at work. Good to see his wonderful background of Darth Vader helmets and Star Wars toys, and of course Phil's awesome Zelda background. I love that. I should probably do something with my background, I guess.
Use the green screen. It is
green.
green.
I can't because then it cuts my stream gets all
He's got to
up,
upgrade his bandwidth or his RAM. One of the two.
RAM for sure.
Probably both.
Yeah. But sooner or later, maybe I'll have some shelves behind me with some toys. But speaking of dry backgrounds, our next guest is the king of dry backgrounds, and I am extremely excited to have him back here. We actually just did a podcast last night, our annual Freaks and Geeks Sudden But Inevitable rewatch. Of course, I'm talking about the other half of Sudden But Inevitable. His name is Ricky D, also from Best Flicks with Ricky D.
Hey, everybody. I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to talk some Star Wars. I feel like I might have gotten shafted on which episode I got, but I still think we can make some fun out of this. And for the record, I'm pretty sure I recorded a theme song for Phil, a la Phil the librarian guy, like Phil Nye the science guy. So we can either look that up or maybe I can re-record it, but I have done that.
Okay, all right, good to know.
But thank you for joining us tonight, Ricky D with Best Flicks with Ricky D. We're really excited to have you on our little show, which, by the way, is live on Sundays, 8:30 Mountain Standard. You can see it at youtube.com/@questme. Make sure to like, subscribe, or ring the bell to be notified every time we're live.
And we are also on pretty much every major social media platform: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can just search for Quest Me. Don't look for us on LinkedIn. We're not there.
Nope.
But you can find links in the show notes.
Yeah. Speaking of LinkedIn, maybe I should make a link tree because I feel like that would be beneficial.
It would not hurt just to break down all those various socials.
Hello, sir. The FSF Popcast. Check these guys out for sure. I'm pretty sure I have I think they sent me a ad. I just remembered last week that I have ads from people. And if you guys, the co-hosts, actually go back and listen to the episodes, you would realize that I've put some ads in some of those episodes for other podcasts. But hey, I think the podcast.
You want to make me go through this twice?
I never listen to the finished product.
I don't.
It's not as raw.
Don't bring up going through this twice because I do the edits. My friend.
Touche, sir. Touche.
Yeah, but before we get into Phil's segment, normally we go straight into Phil's bar far away. Before we do that, though, we had a really huge weekend as Star Wars fans this last weekend. It was Star Wars Celebration in London. London? Europe? Was it London? I can't remember.
London.
London.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lots of cool things coming out. And I was thinking about doing like a special this week, but I just don't have the time. And I know you guys are busy. So I think instead of doing a celebration special, we're just going to give our favorite announcement of the weekend. I don't know if Ricky cares too much about Star Wars Celebration or paid attention at all.
Have they canceled any of the Star Wars spin-offs? Because that would probably be my favorite announcement.
They have canceled the 3 movies.
All right.
Ryan Johnson.
Very exciting.
They have also, however, given stuff to several other different directors, including James Mangold.
X-Men.
For those of you who are Logan fans out there.
Yeah. So let's go around the room and talk about our favorite announcements. I don't know if that was yours, Phil. But
no, actually, I got a better one.
Okay, cool. Well, let's start with you then. What was your favorite announcement of Celebration this weekend?
The confirmation that Mary Elizabeth Winstead will actually be returning as Hera, showing up in Ahsoka. I am stoked to see her back in Star Wars stuff.
Was she the voice?
Yeah.
Wow. Ashley Eckstein really got the shit end of the deal
here,
didn't she?
No, she really did. It's like I love the performance we've gotten out of Rosario Dawson, but I would love for us to get some flashbacks to younger Ahsoka so that Ashley Eckstein could get to reprise the role in live action.
Yeah, and maybe that's one way that they'll do it. But, I mean, you know, we had the Thrawn announcement, too, of Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that was
actually,
mine.
Sorry, I do apologize. Quick correction. No, Hera was voiced by Vanessa Marshall in Rebels.
Okay.
So my apologies to Vanessa Marshall.
Good thing you caught it now, because
I don't want to have to make you do corrections next week, man. I'm checking my shit. No, but I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead in like Scott Pilgrim and various other projects she's done. So I'm happy to see her showing up in Star Wars.
Yeah, heck yeah. So Justin,
It's
yours
funny.
was.
No, I got a comment. It's funny. Like as asking Josh earlier this week, like, hey, who are all the characters that were the voice actors who are now the screen actors? You remember that?
I
And
do,
We only had like 2 characters,
Not as many as I would like, but
right?
I feel like there was a good amount, wasn't there?
I mean,
because we got Cad Bane was played by the same guy.
voiced, not in the suit.
Okay, well, I think that
but yeah.
counts at the same time. And then you had who else? Zeb was voiced by the same guy.
So all the aliens. Chopper.
Yeah.
Chopper will be Dave Filoni.
I think they already confirmed that, but
I gotta say, seeing Chopper show up in live action is gonna be great too, man.
I swear, during that little trailer clip, I heard him say, "What?" And You
Yeah,
know
he
what he was
does.
gonna say.
Because he's getting shot
I
at.
saw somebody caption that that shot of Chopper with the Woody Guthrie. This machine kills fascists.
That's so awesome.
I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah. So
But
Justin, what was your?
I
Yeah.
was
tell us
excited about
yours.
the Lars Mikkelsen. Like I love Thrawn, and like you and I were talking throughout the celebration of who it's gonna be, and sure shit, you were right from the beginning. But it's awesome to see him. Those high cheekbones and sunken in cheeks. He looks great for Thrawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake in the chat has a great point. Yeah, Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan. Good
You're
job.
right. Yep. Thank you.
Yes.
I knew there was a few. But yeah. So Thrawn is definitely one of my favorite announcements as well. It's huge for me as just a Thrawn fan. That was the first sequel I got. I read that before the prequels came out. I read that after I finished the original trilogy, which I was young, and the first movie I went and saw was Return of the Jedi. So my favorite announcement is the fact that Jedi is going to be released again in the theaters for the 40-year anniversary, because I am going to go see it at least twice again.
Hell yes.
It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. It's the first movie I ever watched. It's the first one I ever saw in theaters when they re-released it for the special editions. And it's definitely my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. So that it was huge for me. Clearly, I mean, the Ahsoka trailer was great, but as Justin said, I was right a lot. And so this,
for some clarification on that, you should check out our episodes that we did so far, recapping Timothy Zahn's Heir to the
Yes.
Empire books.
Oh,
yes,
such a great series.
Holy shit, you guys!
not only
so
do we
much
have
fun.
some really good predictions on there, but we do a deep dive on those old books. We still have The Last Command to do, which we're going to do after this season of Mandalorian. So
Have not
that's
seen
gonna be
it.
really
Have
fun.
not read it. That's the exciting part.
But I definitely encourage anyone listening to go check out those old Thrawn books. That link has been in our show notes every episode this season. So it'll definitely be in these show notes. So go take a look at that. Take a listen, because we do a very deep dive in those books and what could possibly be happening in the Mandoverse. So, I mean, there were so many.
Thrawn is coming.
Yeah, and there were so many announcements. We could go on for days. Filoni is directing the movie to finish up the Mandoverse. Mangold is doing the movie that's way in the past, the 25,000 years before the New Republic. And then, the Rey is back for her new Jedi Order movie, which to me raises a lot of questions about more Legends canon and if that's going to come into play. Jake in the chat says, my favorite part of Celebration was the new canon timeline, and the Ahsoka trailer was great. I'm still cautiously optimistic, but I'm looking forward to it. To kind of calm down like some of the nerves on the Ahsoka thing, George Lucas and Timothy Zahn have both been there. They are both part of the team. They're not like going to be credited, but they have been in the rooms and giving their 2 cents on where these things should go.
There is involvement on the people involved with the old canon.
Yeah.
As far as reconnecting it with the new.
How can you confirm this?
At least that's what I would have to go find my sources. I can't do that, but I do read a lot of different things. So, but there's been a few different sources that have mentioned that he has been around. I also wouldn't doubt it if we get some sort of alien or species with the name Zahn at some point in time. I mean, Ahsoka dropped Heir to the Empire in the trailer. Now listen, when that happened, I was in my car.
Goosebumps.
I was going to work. I was parked in the parking lot of my work at 7:20 in the morning, and I got sent that trailer, and I watched it. And anyone that was also in that parking lot would have heard me screaming in my car like a little girl when she says "Heir to the Empire," and just tear. It was yes, that was amazing, but I digress. So let's go on from that. If you guys have any other moments of celebration that you loved, head on over to Twitter or Facebook at Quest Me Podcast and let us know what you thought of celebration. But moving on from
There is one other Star Wars adjacent thing.
yes.
Did y'all see who's playing the villain in the new Indiana Jones movie?
No.
Yes.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes, thank you. I was like, I know it's significant.
Yeah. No, Mads Mikkelsen is showing up as our new villain in Dial of Destiny.
Which that movie actually looks really good. I don't care what anybody says. It looks like it's going to be an old school Indiana Jones movie.
I don't think it will be hard to beat Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Which
not at all.
Crystal Skull brought back Marion, and that was pretty much the high point.
Yeah.
That movie is horrible.
Whatever. I like aliens, so
anyway.
But moving on from all of that nonsense, let's go to our new favorite segment of the week. It is a bar far away. Now, I'm just drinking beer because last week I got way too drunk on Phil's cocktails, and it showed in the editing process. So, Phil, what are you drinking tonight?
Okay, so tonight, this week's episode of Mandalorian gave us several options for beverages, starting with the Quarren captain being poured a drink into her tank at the very beginning of the episode. So I started with something I'm calling a Quarantini. This, yeah, it's almost gone now. So this is my first real experiment with molecular gastronomy techniques going into my beverages. I did a fat wash gin using sardine oil. Okay, so I've got basically got a sardine infused gin, vodka, and dry vermouth for martini. I did skip the sticking around of the sardine to throw in as the garnish and just went with the classic vermouth soaked green olive. For those of you who want that fishy martini experience without the actual fish.
Oh, he's absolutely choking on that sardine.
No, I'm not choking on a sardine. Still fighting.
It's so good, it's horrible.
No, so I made, for the rest of you, I made a sweet version.
The rest of you little Nancy's.
So this one is vodka, a local strawberry ginger gin, and sweet vermouth. So thank you, Lee Spirits. And then garnished with a couple of Swedish fish.
See, that's my kind of drink, and I really thought about making that because I do have, I think, all the ingredients for that one. But I thought about it, and I was like, nah, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't.
And then because we've also got our droid bar scene in this episode, I made a Nepenthe. So this is based on the cocktail oil blend that the droids drink. And it's a riff on a mind eraser. So this is layered coffee liqueur. I actually made my own. Instead of going out and buying Kahlua, I have homemade coffee liqueur, vodka, and vanilla liqueur topped with club soda. And then this one is designed as a layered drink. So it's not shaken, it's not stirred, it's built in the glass layer by layer. And then just drink it with a straw, and you get the impact of all those different layers as you go. It's, like I said, Nepenthe. We'll get to that scene, but it's based on a mind eraser.
Huh.
So
there you go.
Incredible bartender. Three different cocktails this week. Few different new techniques for me to play with. So
yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of fun.
Thank you for
that.
For
the Quarian martini, what if you added a pickle?
I've actually done pickle martinis before. I love them. They're amazing. I use bread and butter dill pickles
Ooh.
and do vodka, gin, dry vermouth, and some of that juice from the pickle, and then garnish it with the pickles. So, yeah.
I like.
Phil should do something crazy with his hair and then send in an audition to Bar Rescue so he could be one of their bartender experts. But you got to do something real crazy with your hair first.
That'd be like pink and green, basically, and like mohawk.
Ricky, I like your thought process. Nah, it's just a hobby that's gotten out of hand. That's all.
Well, I appreciate it, and I love all the drinks that you make. I promise next
Recipes
week-
are in the show notes for anybody who wants.
Yeah,
them.
yeah, all of them recipes going back to when we started this segment, which I believe was episode 2.
2. Mm-hmm.
Oh, episode 2. I don't want to talk about that quite yet,
No.
but I can't wait to do that. I'm going to start off by giving a synopsis for the episode, of course. This week was a different a different episode. Chapter 22, excuse me, Guns for Hire. On this week's episode of The Mandalorian, we find ourselves on a new planet meeting new characters and going full-on lethal weapon. Before meeting with Axe Woves and old crew, Mel Gibson DeLorean and Bo-Katan Glover find themselves solving a case of metallic proportions. That's right, the battle droids are back, and they are just as obnoxious as ever.
Roger.
This episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, written by Jon Favreau, starring Pedro Pascal, Katie Sackhoff, and it guest stars Simon Cassianides as Axe Wolves.
Cassianides.
And of course, there was an appearance by Mercedes Varnado, who plays Casca Reeves, and many other cameos that we're going to talk about. But before we do that, apparently, squids and fish don't belong together.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to know with the thought.
Mon Calamari, right? Long time rivalry. I actually like that they're hinting at peace between the Mon Calamari and the Quarren.
You're right. Now that I think about it, that was a Legends thing. The Quarren and the Mon Calamari had like a huge thing.
Well, and
They had it in Clone Wars.
in canon too. It's in
Clone
canon
Wars,
too.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Which we actually got a nice nod to the Clone Wars stuff with this Mon Cal Quarren romance. The guy who was like heir to the throne of Mon Calamari was in love with a Quarren.
Ricky seems like he's got a problem. What's going
No,
on?
I'm actually looking for a clarification.
Okay.
So when I think, from my understanding, all of the fishy, squiddy species were all Mon Calamari. Is that
No.
correct or incorrect?
The
They
ones
are
with
they
the
are
big
from the
eyes.
world of Mon Calamari. The specific Mon Calamari species, Admiral Akbar's race.
Right. That's
Yeah.
who I think of when
Yeah.
I think Mon Calamari.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Quarren, the squid-faced people, are from the same planet. And they've basically had a long ongoing war between them for
A race war.
pretty much their entire existence.
Yeah.
And we get the implication here that they're finally at peace.
Which is really, really cool. But is the pirate a Quarren? The pirate lord from the last episode?
Gorian Shard? No.
Yeah, it was
No.
No, man, he's like a kelp
he
person.
just
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Seaweed.
Yeah, no, he may also be from an aquatic planet, but he is not
Okay.
not from Moncal.
I just realized Gorian Shard is very much Scooby-Doo-ish.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
What's
he's
under
straight
here,
up looks like
Raggy?
a Scooby-Doo villain. Love him.
you're not wrong. Justin, were you as disappointed as I was that we only saw a little bit of the Mon Calamarians?
I didn't even expect them, so I mean, just even a little brief glimpse of them was pretty cool. But
So-
the whole Shakespearean backdrop was so bad. This episode was so badly written.
I
It started
loved
off
it.
with this romance.
Whoever
Ricky.
wrote this episode should have their hands beaten with hammers and left in a dark room to think about what they've done.
Oh my
And maybe when their hands are healed, they should be allowed to write again.
Ricky was not kidding about hating on this episode.
Ricky
I
out
am-
here with the creative.
I
punch.
think it's perfect for him.
I'm also gonna hate on this episode a little bit because it was the most non-Star Wars like
Ever.
thing that we've gotten, and not ever, but like of live action. I feel like. I mean, it was really just weird. It wasn't the same as what we're used to. That kind of like dark space western kind of thing going on. You know, this one.
See, I
like,
think it
Specifically for the
perfectly-
Mandalorian, yeah.
I think it perfectly hit those space opera notes. You've got the star-crossed lovers. You've got,
okay.
you know,
I don't want to watch a space soap opera.
which is why it was only difference between space opera and soap opera. First off, but I thought actually it felt more true to the Star Wars universe than a lot of other things that we could have seen.
How do you
And
feel about the squiddy kiss?
Man, if
I,
the people who were upset about the drag queen story hour knew that every single one of their kids were watching these messed up, freaked out aliens make out with each other, they would be redirecting their ire.
Thank you for that, Ricky. I agree.
Ricky
with you
D, technically
wholeheartedly.
correct. The best kind of correct.
It was the most jarring thing. I think the only thing that would have paid off that would have like that scene if we would have went to Mon Calamar, if we would have actually seen them take the prince back to his planet and seen Mon Calamar in live action, which I don't think we've seen yet. I think that would have just paid off a little more. I get it. Like, we were there to understand what the Mandalorians were doing, and that they were guns for hire, and that they're there to pick up a bounty and do their Mandalorian thing. But, like, really? That's what we're going to pick?
Soap opera.
I thought it was
Not
a
my favorite.
nice, relatively low stakes kind of intro to things, and like I said, it was a nod to a like pre to a like Clone Wars era Mon Cal Quarren forbidden romance. So
Sure.
It
Alright.
kind of it spoke to me saying that the Mandalorians have this incredible power to do very, big, big bounty jobs, but they're stuck going around picking up, a guy who's not supposed to be in love with the person he's in love with, and maybe Ahsoka could get this back on track.
Oh,
or-
Ahsoka's going to
that's not
absolutely
a
get this
bad
thing
not a
back
bad
on
point.
track.
I meant to say Bo-Katan, but Ahsoka or whoever.
Oh, I was
No.
like, are you talking about series-wise? Because the Ahsoka series is going to blow this thing out of the water.
It's also a fun way of showing off the resources that they have. It's like they're in a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they've got a big old ship running on a minimal crew. Where have we seen that before?
Are we talking about...
Katana Fleet.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Jeez, how did I...
Just saying.
They're on tie-in.
Could be.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
showcasing, and just again showcasing the Mandalorian's resources. Just like look, and we see it again later in the series on later in the episode. We see
I like
just the
the-
Star Destroyer sitting in the background. It's like
With the
Shit.
entire fleet around it. They
Yep.
have a... Yeah, Bo-Katan's old fleet was pretty banging.
So is it the fact that they were in Imperial cruisers and like a fleet-like status, or did they find out that they were Mandalorians and they caved in? To me, it felt
Well,
like they were just caving in based upon the artillery.
They
other
they
ad-
revealed...
they were
revealed that they were
absolutely
Mandalorians.
giving out. They were absolutely giving up because they were outclassed. Between the armor, shields, and weaponry on that destroyer,
Mhm.
The little Mon Cal ship would have stood no chance.
Yeah, and he said, Axe said then that we are not Empire, we're Mandalorian, but we've been paid for a job, and we complete those jobs basically. So he was like, one way or the other, we're gonna do this. And I love his demeanor. Axe Woves is one of my favorites.
He's
He's such a badass.
he's pretty badass for just being the background guy.
Yeah,
I like that we're getting to see him featured a little more prominently.
yeah.
There
I
was
have
a clip.
feeling-
There was a clip at the or a quote at the end of that scene where they said, and I thought Mandalorians were a noble race or something like that.
as he eats his Swedish fish. Jeez. I don't remember that.
Yeah, they said, I thought Mandalorians were honorable, and then he responded with,
Oh.
we are, it just takes a few credits.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, that's right. You're right.
Which
Um,
boom, there's our title drop for Guns
Yeah,
for Hire.
Right. I won't lie to you guys. This is my least watched episode of the entire series. I only watched this one twice, which is very strange for me. I usually watch these things 5 or 6 times throughout the week, so I will be a little hazy on some things. But we move on from that. It was a cool intro of bounty hunting, whatever, I guess. But we move on from that to Bo-Katan and Mandalorian flying into the planet. What planet was it? I did not catch it at all.
Palazir 13 or
Plazier.
some number. Plazier.
Plazier 15.
13. Okay, cool. So we get there, and the little jingle that they play before they tell them they're beaming them in was
Adorable.
the first sign that this episode was going to be a little wonky. Then when we get to the Bubble City, which I swear to God they just landed at the Logan's Run hub of that movie, and then they get into the little Logan's Run train car and go to the Duchess and the Grand whatever he is, and we figure out that it's Lizzo and Jack Black.
How shocked were you?
Well, I wasn't shocked because you spoiled it before I even watched the episode. You said I called Jack Black for my segment. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I should watch the episode now. So
All right. I'll wait
was
3
expecting
hours.
it already. But I wanted to ask Ricky, what did you think about Jack Black being in Star Wars?
I'm not completely well, okay. I'm trying to decide. I was going to say if he didn't play such a cartoonish over-the-top character, but that is kind of who he plays. Last time I saw him was on the Weird Al Yankovic movie, and he was, a very similar cartoonish over-the-top character. So I guess I can't blame him. I didn't like it. And there's this weird feeling on all the planets we meet in the Mandalorian. Like, there's this entire planet full of resources, but I think there's like less than 500 people on this planet.
Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like
there's plenty of droids, but that felt weird. And Jack Black, I guess I just don't like the way Star Wars tastes these days.
I didn't like the way Star Wars tasted this episode. I still enjoy. There was a lot of things to enjoy of this episode, but
Did it taste a little fishy?
it did taste a little fishy.
Oh.
And it was very tenacious of Star Wars to put Jack Black in.
Well,
I mean, it's just why?
what about like your feelings on the next character? I'm sure you're going to bring up
Lizzo?
no,
See, that's-
after her.
See,
the-
here's the thing.
the
I want to
big
talk about
cameo.
Lizzo. Then hang on, because Lizzo was actually my favorite part of the big 3 cameos. I think she was the better one of the 3. And
Just
I don't
like her
think she's ever acted
interactions with
before.
Grogu, or just her
I
appearance.
think,
The way that she was, her
I think
appearance,
that her
demeanor,
character was spectacular. I think she was very
Yes.
well suited to the Star Wars universe.
to Star Wars. Yeah. She
Um,
was a little bit like
I actually
not-
really loved the pairing of her with Jack Black.
Yeah. I mean, it
I
kind of.
She was kind of
find
like
it really.
she was kind of a crazy over the top character too, but she was regal and she was able to kind of bring it back in, I felt like.
Yes,
Yeah.
she did kind of rein in a little of the goofiness.
Yeah.
And
It's,
and we get very similar nods to the "I would like to hold the baby" from
Yes.
season 1. You know,
I
just
would like to see the baby. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, Claire, I just realized you had sent in a comment. Good to see you here. Yeah, I just. Okay, I get it. The cameos, they're great. I like seeing other celebrities in Star Wars and stuff like that. But I just feel like this was not the best role for Jack Black. And I
How
will say the
he's
same-
being his normal self. He's
That's-
typecasted, just what Ricky was talking about.
But it takes
He's an
you out.
eccentric, high energy guy. Like
But this
his
is the
first
kinda
movie,
cameo-
it was that college movie, and he's high on coke the whole time in his skivvies.
Okay, yeah, bong water.
She
You're
said
talking
it
about
was
bong
School of
water?
Rock?
No, it was
no,
bong water.
like
It's about stealing Harvard.
Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She was all like, "I hate my job. I'm gonna burn this mother down." She said it was electrical. Oh yeah, no, it was totally electric.
But that's his character, and then he got typed into one as Star Wars. I thought it was fitting.
Well,
Yeah.
my biggest issue is it took me out of Star Wars way too much. It brought me back to Earth a little too much and kept
And
me
I
out
honestly,
of the
I think the
universe.
same could be said of any big cameo, though.
Not necessarily.
Right,
Now listen, I think
and-
Jack Black would have worked if you put him in an alien costume. You put him in a costume or CGI, and you do something with him that way, and that works way better than having him just there with his ridiculous beard being Jack Black. I mean, you have Simon Pegg as the guy in Force Awakens. That'll be 60 portions. Like, that was a great cameo. Daniel Craig played a stormtrooper. That was a great cameo. Like, you can have giant
Okay, but those
celebrities
are
doing
those are cameos
things.
where you don't see the person's face.
True, and that's what I'm saying.
Because
is if
Simon
you want
Pegg
to
was
do
just a
that-
voice. Daniel
Yes.
Craig was in the suit, but he was also functionally just a voice.
But if you saw Daniel Craig's face, wouldn't it take you out of Star Wars and be like, oh, that's James Bond?
You make a good point.
There are not very many cameos of celebrities and their actual faces. Like, a lot of times it's an alien, it's a droid, it's something like that. I mean, even Thrawn, Lars Mikkelsen, he's blue with red eyes. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is that Jack Black himself took me out of Star Wars a little bit, and like, because I've loved Jack Black for so long, Tenacious D, School of Rock, anything that he's ever done, like, I've really enjoyed a lot of his movies. I was like, but he reminds me of Earth, and I don't want to be reminded of Earth when I'm watching Star
See,
Wars.
and
Lizzo,
I'm going
on
to
the
call
other
that a
hand-
personal problem.
That's fine.
You
Lizzo, on
bring-
the other hand,
You bring up a
musician,
good
like,
point. Like, if he had a CGI green fluffy body and had the same voice and did everything the same, actually, yeah, that would be more Star Wars to me. You changed my mind, Josh. You twisted
Here
my
we are.
arm.
Here we are.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh.
Good. I love the callback. Jesse's here talking shit, as he always is. He says all the original cast was that level of famous, and they don't ruin the sequels. No, because they were part of Star Wars to begin with.
And
What?
also, those characters, they have different costumes they put on for different shows. And Jack Black, not to be insulting, he kind of wears this one costume in everything he's in.
Yes.
I think that's called his skin, Ricky.
But I don't want to get too hung up.
Yeah,
on,
no,
on those
I
things.
think we're sitting here.
You know, my everyone has valid points. I'm just giving my
Point being,
personal
they
thing,
are
and-
setting up
Yeah.
a new what
Oh yeah.
for Din
Dang.
and Bo?
I was reading. Jesse's
Oh,
thing.
you're sitting here.
Jesse-
You're
Jesse
not even
says-
ready with the bumper.
Jesse says only some people can be in Star Wars.
He's the one delayed
Wrong.
now.
Wrong. If Jack Black was an alien or something, not Jack Black, it's fine. Moving on. Yes, we get Lizzo, and before Mando and Din or Bo can go talk to Axe Woves because apparently they're hidden behind some sort of secret door. Lizzo and Jack Black send them on new quest incoming. They get sent on a new quest, a side quest, if you will, and they get to go figure out what's wrong with the battle droids that they have kept around.
All
this
the
entire
droids.
city?
All the droids, not
All the
not
droids. Yeah,
just the
that's true.
battle droids.
Okay.
And he refurbished one.
Battle droids are part of it, which is just fun.
Yes. I wanted to ask Phil, what did you think of the appearance of Doc Brown and battle droids?
I think he went back to the future.
Ooh.
And here's a cameo that I liked. I loved Christopher Lloyd in this. He didn't take me out of anything, which is weird because he played a character that made sense for him. Of course, Jack Black makes sense to play an eccentric leader, whatever, but
See, that's my issue. There's too many cameos all at once. Three big ones.
Like right hook, left hook, gut punch, like
you're right. It was overwhelming.
But Phil, were you like happy to see Doc Brown? Like, was it kind of one of those, oh, cool, or were you like, oh, great, another cameo?
I absolutely adore Christopher Lloyd. I've been a fan of Christopher Lloyd for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Seeing him, well. I mean, I love him as Professor Plum in Clue. I love him in pretty much everything he's done. So seeing him show up in the Star Wars universe, I think was great.
Ricky apparently Jesse thinks that he's regretting his accepting of the invitation to this show. Ricky, what about you? What did you think about Christopher Lloyd?
Ricky, why would you not want to come hang out with your college roommate and talk about Star Wars, man?
That's the only thing.
It's not like It's not like we didn't do this for like 4 years.
So when I saw Christopher Lloyd, my major thoughts involving his character, or not even his character, but the actual person, Christopher Lloyd, is how expensive it must be for him to fly as an actor. I mean, those bags under his eyes are so big. He would absolutely have to pay
absolutely extra. Those are absolutely extra.
Yeah, those aren't going in the overhead bin. And then if he has any decency at all, he's going to buy out the entire row of seats because his ears are going to be like just smacking into everybody next to him. So he's got to be paying crazy fees every time he flies.
Wow, that's hilarious. That's funny. I liked Christopher Lloyd, but a part of me kind of was like, oh man, we don't have a lot of time left with this man. I feel like, struggled saying some of the lines in this, and it was another thing that
he looked brittle.
Like he did.
He looked like the wind would blow and he may break.
He definitely catch air.
Yeah,
he is 84 years old. He is entitled to be brittle.
Yeah. But it made sense because he was like an old dog, you know what I mean? Because he ended up being a separatist at the end.
Holy shit! Cool. What a callback
to Dooku, like he was homies with Dooku
to the Techno Union.
To the Techno Union.
That blew my mind.
Yes.
Oh,
I haven't heard that since Clone Wars, man.
Yeah.
And then it made sense of all the different droids and him manipulating him.
Yeah. Guess what? Guess who's going to be good at handling droids? Fucking Techno Union rep. I mean, come on.
You know, and I wonder if that's why, because, see, some of us would get excited about something like that, but Ricky, I doubt you know anything about the Techno Union.
No. Also, what the hell is a chain code?
Okay. So this is something that throws back to season 1 of Mandalorian. It's basically your Star Wars digital ID. It tracks who you are, where you're from, and is utilized as various levels of authentication. Really, we've not seen it used a lot outside of The Mandalorian so far.
Andor, I believe.
Yeah, that was the
Andor had
thing. It was
changed
It's
it,
your
it was
yeah.
passport. It's your
Yeah.
passport.
It's-
Corbin
it's-
Dallas passport.
Yeah.
And if Mando kind of looked like he didn't want his to be scanned at one point, I assume that there's also a tracking and keeps you in the system kind of thing.
There's a whole lot of Din's whole like droid phobia going on in this episode. That again throws back to season 1 with him establishing that he does not like droids. He doesn't like working.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't trust droids.
Yeah, and they have to go on this huge investigation now to figure out what's wrong with the
What's
droids.
wrong.
And Din
He
is
gets
already
to play detective.
Yeah, and so this is a big thing that I wanted to ask Ricky, because Ricky's a more sophisticated connoisseur of cinema, I would like to say. And you like more drama, kind of like gangster, mobster, like
Yeah,
those kind of things. And this was kind of a cop drama, buddy cop.
It was
thing
almost a
going on.
procedural. It was almost
Excuse
a
me.
police procedural.
Yeah. So
Dun,
what did you
dun.
think? What did you think about the investigation? Like, did it hold up to some of the other things?
It was a high point in the episode, definitely. From the start where we got to watch the videos of the droids malfunctioning and they're throwing trash everywhere and the chef robot is going nuts. And it kind of had, this little entry of comedy. And then we're, like you said, we're doing the procedural, we're doing the investigation thing, and we're going around. And it had, elements of intrigue. It had great moments of comedy. Din Djarin just going around kicking sentry droids in the chest. That was fantastic.
Wasn't it
I
awesome?
love that.
He kept on kicking them while they're going down the line.
So this was a high point in the episode. I'll absolutely give it that.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, a lot of action, jumping through bar windows, that kind of thing. Excellent.
Cool, 'cause
I will
agree.
fully admit, I know that Temin does not live on Plaisir 15, but legitimately, I was still hoping for a Mr. Bones cameo.
Temin, is this Andor?
Temin
know that one.
Wexley, Snap Wexley.
So
from
okay.
Chuck Wendig's Aftermath
Okay.
trilogy.
Yes.
Temin had a battle droid that
As
he
like a
basically
partner.
reprogrammed
Yeah.
with like various like dancer and assassin subroutines.
Yeah.
So Mr. Bones is this battle droid from Chuck Wendig's Aftermath trilogy
That's
who
right.
just kicks ass all over the place for
Yeah.
3 books.
He was like the first K2SO.
Yeah, no, like he was amazing.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of getting to see the battle droids again.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Ricky too. I think the investigation and the ending of this episode, the battle between Bo and Axe, and that whole scene were the extreme high parts of this episode. Everything surrounding that was like, it was just, again, it just kind of took me out of the episode, some of the other things. So everything leading up to getting to the chain codes and all the stuff we were talking about, there was a lot, and I'm going to go through it like kind of rapid fire, and Justin, I'm going to ask you a question at the end. So basically we start with talking with Ugnaughts, which was super cool. Then we go to the loading docks and start kicking droids around. And then we get a really cool chase scene of one of the droids that gets pissed off when Din kicks him. That chase scene then leads to an address. Another thing that took me out of the episode. When have they ever said address in Star Wars? Location,
Okay,
please?
hold up. Can I talk about how much I fucking loved the spark pad bit?
Yes, please.
It's such an old-timey detective note. It's like, oh, we found a matchbook with a bar name on it. We're going to go follow him around.
I missed out on that.
Yeah, no, the spark
thing we got
pad
an
is
address.
the spark pad is something basically newly introduced via this episode, but it's a fucking it's a matchbook.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you,
Jesse
Jesse.
says Poe Dameron did a prank and asked for a dude's mom. Yes, and I absolutely hated that. As soon as that happened, I knew that we were in for a rough ride when it comes to Last Jedi. But I will say that my mind has changed a lot over time after Rise of Skywalker came out, and Last Jedi is slowly creeping up on the list of better movies than other ones. But I will say Poe Dameron's prank call was the worst part of that movie.
I'm
And
looking
Jesse,
for
man, Are you just
hugs.
you're just here to pick on me tonight, aren't you? Address is a weak complaint.
No,
Yes, it is
I
a
just
weak complaint. But for me, again,
Mm.
it's Star Wars. I've never
there
heard.
are
We found
It's
like
it's
Phil said,
going
we
off
found
the
a
noir
matchbook with an
side,
address.
so it has to
exactly. Thank you,
it's following
Justin.
that style.
Thank
Like,
you.
this
I
is a
mean,
classic detective noir movie.
I mean, if they'd done this, imagine if they'd done this whole episode in black and white, with with
Exactly.
Din
Bingo.
doing voiceover,
Then
just
maybe
the
see,
hard-boiled detective doing the voiceover the whole time. It's like constantly raining on Plaisir 15. It's just no,
Yeah.
we could. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
It-
there
it- there-
was
Different
some
style.
fun things, yes, and a different style for sure. But after the bar scene, going to the address,
Womp
we get
womp.
a Resident Evil laser droid, which was pretty tight, and then we realize that Christopher Lloyd is the villain and a separatist. So, Justin, the first thing I wanted to ask about all of that leading up was the Ugnaught scene. How cool was it to see Mando utilize his Ugnaught like
Background?
speaking skills? Yeah.
Oh, I
Did a
loved
charisma
it.
check.
That was
I loved it. He started to speak just like them, with the same kind of monotoned but firm tone of voice, and the "I have spoken." That right there was the cool part.
Yeah,
it
I
was
After he-
such a nice throwback to Nick Nolte in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Queel.
Queel.
Well, it's
Oh,
funny. Like
Queel.
he did his phrase, and then he ended it with "I have spoken," and they're like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Yeah,
Oh.
when the rest of the Ugnaughts realize, oh shit, this guy knows what he's doing. It's a great scene.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of when you realize that they make a good team, you know, that Bo and Mando with their skills and abilities and knowledge of the universe.
Good
like
cop,
they're
bad
different.
cop.
Yeah, exactly, but they're very different in all of their different skills. And Mando has a lot more of a direct approach, as in, I have spoken, I have kicked a droid, you know, all that good
Jesse,
stuff.
get out of here.
Jesse says my
I have
wife wanted those
droid.
Ugnaught boots for years. That's hilarious. So yeah, we get a lot of cool stuff, and you know, most of these things we're going to talk about in segments. So I feel like we can kind of blow past that whole chase scene and kind of move on to the end of this episode. Like we get the Christopher Lloyd thing, getting arrested and getting sent to whatever moon it is, and then we go on from there. But Ricky, what did you have to say?
There was one thing. They were in the droid bar. And there was one
Yeah.
thing that really annoyed me. So sorry, I just wanted to go back and hit on this before we leave. But the droids did this really, they did this really insulting thing. The storyline where it's like, oh, the droids are afraid that humans are going to replace them, much the way right now humans are afraid that computers are going to replace us. And I think it's because my dad's an asshole. But when they do something that's that obvious and they're just like, ooh, the humans are going to take the droid's place, it feels insulting to me.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Also,
Yeah.
am I the only one who thought like, oh shit, we're going into a droid bar? Maybe this will tie back in to the first episode of the season, and maybe the Ugnaughts or the droids at the bar will have parts to repair IG-11.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That would have been
I
a cool.
forgot about that quest.
Exactly. That's why I wanted it to be reconnected. I wanted it to come back to be like, hey, by the way, you know, just Din talking to the Ugnaughts, just like, by the way, do you have this particular piece for an IG-11?
it'll be something funny. They'll get there and Axe Wolves will be like, oh, I have that on the ship. But yeah, I think I don't know. That was a weird scene, the whole bar scene. But it was.
I did
I-
appreciate where it
scene.
ended up, because it ended up
Yeah.
with them saying humans have such a short life. We'd like to, it ended on a good note, but the whole
Yeah.
the humans are going to replace droids is just, oh, that was painfully stupid.
With that being said, Jesse says, Ricky, this show is for kids. Don't hold it to the fire. But I agree, it was a little weird. So we can, like I said, that we actually, there's a segment, one of us has picked the bar scene, one of us has picked the laser droid.
We've
there's
picked.
all sorts of stuff
Covered
to talk
them
about in
all.
those segments when
Yeah,
it comes to
We'll get there.
those scenes. And of course, I have a huge thing in one of my segments to talk about, which is the very end of
Quit
this episode.
bragging.
But we're gonna talk about the battle between Axe and Bo first, which was really cool. That whole scene,
Two
the
men
choreography
enter,
of
one
that
man
was,
leave. 2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Yeah, and it was
Who
The way that
rule
they use
Barter
their-
Town?
the way they use their jetpacks though, and their their grappling hooks and stuff. Like that whole fight was so Mandalorian and so cool. So, Ricky,
It was
what
a
were your-
phenomenal action sequence.
Yeah. Ricky, what were your was it cheesy to you? Or,
Oh, no, not at
or
all.
was it a good duel?
I agree, like you said earlier, this and the whole chase scene, highlights of the episode. These were, standard Mandalorian parts. All those weird parts in between were a little bit less, but this was right up there with quality Mandalorian. I just recently started watching 30-second, 2-minute UFC clips, just 2 or 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days before I watched this episode. So when they started fighting, I was like, man, what if they had jetpacks and grappling hooks in the UFC? That would be unbelievable.
I would be all about it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm going to say the ultimate in that is definitely a misnomer because holy shit, it could be so much better.
Dang, that would be cool.
Throw up what Jesse said.
Mando's Batman in space.
That is hilarious.
Space.
And
is
again,
good. That is
not
good.
true. Batman's a fascist.
Oh my god.
I love him, but he's very pro cop.
Justin, if Bo lost this fight, do you think Din would have still given her the Darksaber?
Well, that's a good question because I feel like Axe would have killed her, and then Bo would have, and then Din would have beheaded him. So Din would win.
This is the way.
I have spoken.
This is the way.
Din still needs a new melee weapon.
I
Yeah.
completely agree. I missed the spear.
I miss the
Yeah.
spear,
Spear
too.
was cool.
Like
But
I
now
get
it's
it. I
armor
get
for
the whole
Grogu.
idea. I get the whole concept of not using Beskar as a weapon, just using it as a defense.
Yeah.
But give him a fucking Beskar shield and let him beat Captain America with it or something. I mean,
I don't know. I like his
Captain Batman.
blade, vibrating blade.
Vibroblade?
whatever it is.
Vibroblade.
Vibronium.
Thank you. I really like that. I think that's a good melee weapon for him. I think that he's better with a blaster. I
he
enjoy how
absolutely is.
he-
I
he runs
still
with
also
that.
miss his rifle from season 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think he
Definitely
needs a
enjoy
sword.
weapons.
He needs
No, I
like a katana.
Hey,
Nah, he needs to be the
maybe
gunslinger, dude. He's the gunslinger.
maybe Ezra will show up and help him build a lightsaber. Maybe.
Get out of here.
Maybe. No, I'm just saying, man. Hey, if his kid's gonna get to build a lightsaber someday because he's a Jedi,
No, dude, Grogu's gonna get the dark saber. Come on, how many times
Oh,
I gotta
yeah.
tell you this? Phil, I think we're about at the end before we get to segments.
very near it.
And I'm not even gonna ask this question until my
No,
segment
like,
because
no,
I have
I-
a segment based
I
on this.
think-
so. Let's move on.
think
Does
it's
anybody
well
have any
handled.
notes? Does anybody have
In all
any...
honesty, I'm kind of pissed off that you were right. Because we had this whole thing once Din got to Mandalore. There was this whole thing about
Well,
whether or
let's
not
hold
the
off.
droid
Let's hold
counted as
off.
being defeated in battle. But
Let's hold off.
You know what? We'll get there.
Does anybody have any last notes before we move on to segments?
Yeah,
So,
Christopher
Ricky.
Lloyd. He had
Yes!
this huge plan to have the robots revolt, and he was going to take over the planet. But then when Lizzo told him it made her sad, he just apologized.
Would you not
what was the
also
resolution
do
of
the
that?
same thing if Lizzo told you that she was disappointed in you? Like personally disappointed in you? I mean,
But I don't
shit.
have the capacity for evil where I would take over an entire planet.
Ricky,
Okay.
I lived with you for like 4 years, dude. I absolutely disagree that you do not have that potential.
Go on. We're learning.
No, I just he was super evil, and then he was like, "Oh, you're right. I'm sorry," and it was a bad resolution. I mean, he's still going
was-
to be.
Maybe he was drafted.
It was very, again, okay, it was very Scooby Doo. It was
Yeah.
it was very Scooby
Yeah,
Doo.
pull the mask off, send him to jail.
If it weren't for you meddling kids, I would have gotten away. Yeah, it's
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes just as much the resolution of this episode makes just as much sense as any other, literally any other Saturday morning cartoon we have ever watched in the last 35 years.
Yep. Very, very
Can't
Saturday
argue.
morning cartoon for sure.
Argue.
Now, I
it-
get that some people might have taken issue with it for being a little more on the cartoonish side, but I mean,
There was a lot of people were not happy with this episode. That's for sure.
For reasons stated.
I
And,
could say something rude. I'm not going to.
And all of this episode, not just the stuff that we've complained about, but every aspect of it, people have really, really dragged this thing through the mud. So
It's because it's not the
Fans.
feel of the season 1 and 2 Mandalorian. It lost the Western vibe. It really has.
well,
Fair.
but things
doesn't-
evolve.
It doesn't hit necessarily a lot of the same kind of space western vibes.
I think, if I may, it's setting us up for a bigger universe. This season in particular is setting us up for a lot. It's a setup. This whole season is a setup for the Mandoverse, whatever we're gonna do with it.
I do think I'm convinced that I should go back and watch the Rebels or Clone Wars or whatever the animated
fuck
one
yeah.
was.
Rebels.
I'm enjoying enough of the Mandalorian backstory that I'm like, well, I could enjoy that, I think. And does it have General Grievous? And
Yeah, man. No,
Oh,
so
excellent.
Clone Wars hits all of those points with the introductions of Bo-Katan, with all the battle droid shit, with General Grievous. We got I'm rewatching Clone Wars right now, and I'm in the middle of season 3, and I'm having an absolute blast going back through it. So
Yeah, and Rebels is
But-
my favorite Star Wars property. Continuous.
I know
property.
a lot of people feel that same way, Josh. I know a lot of people are like, "Holy shit, Rebels is the best thing that Star Wars has ever done outside of
Yep.
the original trilogy." So,
I would have to agree with that for sure. Phil, do you have any other last notes before the end of this part? Before we go to segments? God.
no, I think we pretty well touched on everything short of
Segment
again, man.
things.
There's I'm mad that you were right.
Justin, did you have any other notes? that
That's
you
all
wanted
I
to talk
got.
about?
No, not really. Nothing that we covered. There's no cool Easter eggs that we didn't discuss or anything.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of that either, for sure. Cool. Well,
there
then
there
let's,
were a lot of throwbacks. There were a lot of callbacks to season 1. We got more Ugnaughts. We got the chain codes coming back.
They mentioned that prison planet, actually.
Yep. Yeah.
Forgot about that.
We got notes. We got the Techno Union referenced. We got Dooku referenced. We got. Sorry, I'm just looking. We got a monorail that they called a
Monorail.
Hyperloop, which hey, Elon Musk.
Jeez, man. Phil's 3 drinks deep.
No.
You can definitely tell.
Just 2 martinis.
Two.
Oh, my bad.
I'm starting on the Nepenthe.
Oh, that was a little Easter egg to Homer's Odyssey.
Yes. Thank you. Justin and I had a whole conversation about this. About the origin of the word Nepenthe. It's a throwback to Homer's Odyssey. To this drink that would make you forget.
Interesting.
Which we got oil with nanobots in it that reprograms you. I think that counts as Nepenthe, something that would make you forget.
Mutter's milk.
But which, by the way, is why I based the Nepenthe on the Mind Eraser cocktail.
Oh, I was thinking Mutter's milk from Firefly.
Yeah. Oh no, I know.
Okay, pardon me.
Janestown. I know. Ricky, you were there in the room the first time I watched Serenity.
That's a throwback. Sun but Inevitable. Go check that out. But let's do this.
Jesse, good note.
He said it was in Star Trek 2.
It shows up in Picard,
where Riker and Troy live. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it shows up in Picard.
That's right.
Guess what? Right. Guess who wants to kind of forget where they were or what they were doing? Ooh.
I don't know. I haven't seen the newest episodes of Picard.
This was season 1.
Oh. I don't remember.
When you go visit him on his home.
Well, let's move on to
segments.
This isn't a Star Trek podcast. God damn.
He's no good to me dead.
He will not be permanently damaged.
Bubba's Bounty is the part of the episode where we talk about our favorite new thing introduced into live-action Star Wars. For our guest, we let them choose the new thing from the season. You don't have to pick from the episode if you don't want to, but at least give us your favorite new live-action aspect from the season. So, that being said, let's start with Ricky D. What is your Boba's Bounty for this week?
I want to see more interspecies alien makeout scenes in the future of Star Wars. That's what I want more of.
Okay. Fair.
I think that would take the series in a really good direction. Or the franchise.
Kiss.
I'm not going to say anything about non-canon sources.
All right. I'll take it.
Jesse said, watch Star Trek WTF.
Yeah, that's like Star Trek started that. Come on, Ricky. That was like Kirk and Uhura, like way back in the day. Like, yeah, you deserve the hate on that one.
I'll take it.
Phil. What was your Boba's Bounty for this week?
Oh, we didn't have a thing. No. My thing this week was the bartender droid. I loved the bartender droid. The whole droid bar sequence was absolutely phenomenal. First off, lots of different throwbacks to the rest of Star Wars in general. Lots of different droid designs that we haven't seen anywhere, but the droid bartender in particular was just a fun new character.
He was a little bit human.
Yeah. And expressed some very earnest concerns. And yes, Jesse, that was one of my original thoughts, was just imagining these, humans walk into a droid bar there and being told, "Hey, we don't serve your kind here."
I was half expecting
I
that
was
for
waiting
sure.
for it. I was waiting for it
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
time. I was waiting for it.
And I think the droids looking at them said it all.
Yeah.
Oh.
Looking at how they're like, why are you here?
It also reminded me a little bit, not gonna lie, reminded me a little bit of Tron, coming back to
Okay.
just Tron Legacy, man.
Like-
The whole end of line club
Yeah.
sequence in Tron
Yeah,
Legacy.
I could see that. That's so
Like
funny.
we already hit our big cameos for this episode, but holy shit, how much fun would it be to see Jeff Bridges show up in Star Wars at some point?
As long as he's an alien.
He'd have to be a bad guy.
I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm kidding. He doesn't have to just be an alien. I
An
just have a
alien
thing
bad
against
guy.
Jack Black. Before you jump down my throat, Jesse, it's just Jack Black and all the Kingdom ones.
No, but yeah, the whole the droid bartender was just a fun new thing. It's like, hey, we've seen all of these other types of droids at various other points throughout Star Wars,
Yeah.
including the chef droid that goes malfunctioning that we see on
which is
video.
awesome.
We've
Yeah.
seen the chef droid before. So seeing, you know, a new droid who's like, hey, I just want to keep doing my thing. Was a lot
I
of
just
fun.
want to keep serving droid drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
love it.
I enjoyed the aspect of him just fitting that stereotypical noir. Hey, I got some information for you, and here's
Yeah.
how I'm credited. I want to
Yes.
see you guys.
So again, such a fucking love letter to the film noir stereotypical detective story. It's like, hey, no, we found a matchbook that leads us back to this bar. We go talk to the bartender. We get information. It's.
We go to A. We go
I
to
thought
B.
it was absolutely pitch perfect. But that's just me.
Well, it is an excellent pick. I did like that scene, all the different droids and stuff. It was another bar scene in Star Wars, but it was a different kind of bar, and that was great. Justin, let's move on to your Boba's Bounty, which is clearly not my favorite, but tell us about why you picked this.
It's Captain Bombier, Jack Black. Honestly, the reason why I really picked this is because I was watching the first time with Audrey, my daughter, and she recognized him from Jumanji. She said Jumanji and pointed at him, so it was really cute. But like, it's Jack Black.
That's
like how we
adorable.
covered it. He's an eccentric leader. Go on, Phil.
No, that's absolutely adorable. That she's just like, hey, I know that guy from X. Also, one of my favorite details about Captain Bombardier is a nice little nod to a couple episodes ago. Guess what? He's wearing the same pin that Dr. Pershing was.
That is the only thing that I liked about his character. Was that
he's
he
also a
was-
former Imperial.
Yes.
Who's
he's
also
reformed or
going
whatever.
through that same rehab program.
Yes.
Though he seems to be a little more earnest about it than Kane or Dr. Pershing. Well, I mean, Dr. Pershing just wants
No.
to do his own thing, but
No.
you know.
I think he's just better at lying about it.
I mean, dude's married to Lizzo now. I think he's pretty fucking happy doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he doesn't have to lie.
You're not wrong. And he's like the leader of a planet, so it
He has to
you're right.
keep his wife
Yeah.
happy, so that's why he's so forgetful and grumbling.
They're both musicians. They are both absolutely hugely talented musicians.
Agreed.
I would absolutely love to see some sort of like musical collaboration come out of this from both of them. like legitimately, Lizzo's flute playing with Jack Black with whatever, you know, guitar or his little plastic saxophone.
Yeah, the
thing.
electric saxophone.
Nah, I absolutely loved Captain Bombardier. The name reminded me of God. What Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I don't know
Okay.
what you're
Oh,
referencing.
okay. Have you never seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Like when I was a kid.
Okay, so musical, like
Hey,
old
hey,
old
chitty chitty
musical.
bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang. We love you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, starring like Dick Van Dyke. Okay, but written by Roald Dahl and based on a book by Ian Fleming, the guy who created
Mm.
James Bond.
James Bond.
Okay, and and the child catcher character is like inspired by God, I want to say it was like inspired by Christopher Lee, but I mean,
okay, interesting.
there's a lot of
There's
there's a
some
lot
deep,
going
deep
on
cuts
there.
then.
Yeah.
If that's what they're doing, that's some
I
deep cuts, and I like that.
Baron Bombburst is the villain, is one of the villains. So Captain Bombardier just made me think of Baron Bombburst.
Okay.
But I mean,
Sure.
again, that's the guy who played Goldfinger.
If we're playing 6 Shades of Kevin Bacon or whatever, then that makes sense. But
Yeah, no, but we're not. We're not, just doing a like Wikipedia deep dive.
yeah. So great pick, Justin. Even though I don't care too much for him in this,
He needed to be an alien.
I'm sure he loved being in Star Wars just as much as Lizzo did. I loved her little thing that she said on Twitter about how her dad was a huge Star Wars fan and that she cried all day when she got cast because she couldn't tell him because he was dead. And like I thought that was
She
really
was
cool.
so excited.
Yeah,
she was so excited to get to be in
appreciate
Star Wars. It was
Yep.
super cute.
Yep. So my Boba's Bounty this week was actually the game that they were playing. I thought that was a pretty fun little game. I mean, they're just throwing slugs through hoops and
Doesn't
or
seem very fun with a
roly-polies,
slug.
whatever. But no, but
Space cornhole.
space cornhole.
Okay,
I mean,
that's
kinda,
how I see it.
yes.
So
But I loved Grogu's little motions. How he helped her get her.
Oh, that little cheater.
bug. Yeah, I
He
love
he was
cheated
cheating
to get
little shit.
the quasi bar or whatever.
I love it.
So you know what it made me think of,
Hmm.
Josh? You know what it made me think of is Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, absolutely.
It was so much
Oh.
the croquet match. It was so much the croquet match.
Yes.
With the hedgehogs from
Love
Alice
that.
in Wonderland.
That's a great
it
parallel for sure.
right? We've got a high-ranking royal playing a game using an animal for a ball.
Yeah, it was just a fun addition.
Yeah.
Like, although a lot of stuff took me out of this episode, that was one thing that I was like, okay, I could see this. Like, this is something that I could see being played.
Roly poly chucking.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, man.
Ricky looks like he's struggling over there.
Does anybody think it's weird the way Lizzo's character treated Grogu like a dog almost? Kind of like a
No.
lap dog? No?
Not at all.
No,
No.
Okay.
I feel
That's
like
how people
Grogu gets
treat
treated
babies.
in. Yeah, Grogu gets treated in two different ways, like a baby or like a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like
As a parent, people who have kids treat them like a person. People who don't have kids treat them like pets.
Correct.
okay.
Interesting. I guess I never.
Am I wrong,
never thought about
Justin?
that.
You are absolutely correct.
Yeah. Well, that will do it for Boba's Bounty this week. Thanks, guys, for all your picks. Those were a lot different than normal, so I like that. Let's move on to our second segment. It's the Sarlacc Killer Scene, that time where we pick our favorite still shot from each episode of The Mandalorian. Let's keep that same rotation going and start with Ricky. Why did you pick this for your Sarlacc Killer Scene?
It kind of jumped in and it was very exciting and unexpected. I don't know why the droid went nuts, but it was kind of the climax of all of their sleuthing, all of their policing, is they finally found out, okay, yes, we need to go back and talk to Christopher Lloyd again.
Right. And by the way, I didn't even mention it. I'm sorry. Ricky's shot is the part where the droid loses it and starts throwing the Resident Evil lasers everywhere.
Okay,
and
so
blowing things up.
so this bit goes back to the Nepenthe. The droid had pulled the sample of Nepenthe from the battle droid that they'd taken out, right?
Didn't it go into a syringe though?
It did, but the droid pulled it into itself to analyze it.
Okay.
And those nanobots in the Nepenthe were still active and impacted the little probe droid there too.
Maybe
That's why it freaked out and started attacking them. Because it was like, hey,
quick.
this. Yeah,
Real
go
quick,
ahead, Josh.
Roy is in here. Hello, Roy. Thanks for joining us. He says this episode was the best this season so far.
Not.
Roy, I'm
disagree.
with you. I had a hell of a lot of fun with this one.
There's two of us that agree. Well, maybe one of us that agrees and three of us that don't. But
We
We'll
got
see.
we got a lot of mixed feelings on this episode.
this was a very mixed episode for a lot of things, for sure.
Ricky,
but
I love your selection
yes.
because this sequence was so much fun.
It was one of the better
poor
ones
tech.
of the episode.
The poor tech is just sitting
Oh,
there.
she looked so
yeah.
scared.
No, they're
She had
still
no
at it.
idea what was going on.
Yeah, that would have been rough for her. I thought she got killed immediately. I thought she got hit by the laser and like cut in half, but she didn't. She was fine. It was another one of those kind of Scooby-Doo moments where things go haywire and they like pop up and they're like, "Oh, okay, everything is okay. Let's get back on the
Wait,
computer."
we're all still alive.
Yeah. But I do love this pick.
related to the Scooby-Doo side. Ricky, please tell Zoe hi and that I miss her.
That was not Zoe barking.
I know
How
it
dare
wasn't. I know it wasn't, but I miss her. She's such
I
a
will then.
sweetheart. I haven't seen her in like 4 years. I miss her so much.
She's a good dog.
She really is. She's the best.
Aw, where's my cat?
Sorry, those are
but
not dogs.
No, you're good, Justin. It did just make me miss Zoe. Ricky
I know
has
it's your dogs, Justin.
Ricky has literally the best dog I've ever met. She's an absolute sweetheart. And
Yeah, she's just
I
low
think I met
energy,
Zoe
very sweet. Everything I need.
yeah, no, Zoe is the absolute best. I miss her very much. I'm sad that I haven't seen her in so long.
Well, excellent pick, Ricky. Thank you. And let's move on to Phil's Starlight Killer scene. It comes in at the 3-minute and 12-second mark. Tell us about this and why you chose it.
This is the Quarren captain dropping out of the water tank that she has on the bridge. I just, as ship design, I absolutely adore this. It's like, okay, we are species from an aquatic world. We are going to take precautions to make sure that we have everything that we need on our ships. And it was just a great little bit of detail as the water tank drops away from her and reveals just her like freestanding up from the tank. It was a spectacular bit of special effect. It was just a fun thematic note. And I'm absolutely here for the idea of accommodations for aquatic species in space.
I think this is unnecessary.
See, and that's
Like, she's selfish. There's one little floating fishy tank for the captain only. Like, hook it up for the rest of the crew.
no, because she's got to be on the bridge more than anyone else. The idea
makes
being
sense.
that she can be on the bridge longer by having the water available for her, where her crew can go off the bridge and have access to whatever other resources they need. The
That would make
idea
sense.
being
Here's
that
the other thing
captain
why
can,
it's unnecessary. Like we see Quarrens and all the time, and they never hop in water, you know. But don't
But
get me
it's
wrong, it's cool. It's a cool
Yeah.
detail.
no, it's literally just showing off the tech. It's like, hey, look what we can do.
Okay.
It's
It's a flex.
It is absolutely a flex.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a
It
nice
is
flex, though.
absolutely a
It
flex.
is. It is.
And it
Nice.
is highlighting the fact that she's the captain, not just some random crew member.
Could you imagine if Darth Vader did that? Like he just had a back
Have
tank
you
on the
seen
bridge.
literally any sequence where you see him in his little healing pod?
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
like if he had one on the bridge and was just chilling in a back tank giving orders the whole time.
Oh,
I think that'd be pretty fun.
It'd
But
be
while everyone can
make
see
him
him,
look weak
you know.
though.
Yeah,
well,
exactly, which is why he, does not come
Anakin-
out of out of his little healing
Meditation
pod.
chamber.
Anakin was weak, so. But excellent pick.
But
Phil.
yeah,
Thank you
no,
for that
it
one.
just again the idea of seeing, and I'm sure if we'd spent more time with like Akbar on board a Moncal cruiser, we'd see something similar.
Yeah, I would
But
agree with that.
we don't. So
I believe we saw those in Clone Wars, if I'm not mistaken. We did see pods like that.
yeah, no,
around.
it's similar tech to stuff that we've already seen in Clone Wars. So I absolutely love seeing shit like that come up again in live action. So
Yeah. Excellent pick, though. Let's move on to Justin's Sarlacc Killer Shot. I actually got 2 for him because he tried to pick another scene, and I kiboshed that. So we'll start with the first one. It kind of goes... It's the bar scene.
yes,
Oh, because
So
all right,
we'll
this-
flip back and forth because I took some pictures of just the scene itself. I didn't want to play the video, I guess.
no, that's fine. So
But, yeah.
this whole episode we get a noir the detective feel, and then they're going A to B to C, following the clues, and they get to this bar, and then they walk in, and then shoot, all eyes on them. Like which one of us doesn't belong? And to me, this scene seemed that it was more a spaghetti western. Like you walk into the saloon, everyone just shuts up, stops playing the piano, and they look at you. And then it jumps back in, and then it jumps back into the noir detective feel. But it was just it was a cool thing to see.
It's a good mix of
thank you,
droids, too.
Justin. Exactly, the spaghetti western, the Sergio Leone note of
Whoops.
just the spoilers, Josh.
Sorry.
Jesus. No, but Justin, exactly that. The spaghetti western moment of the hero steps into the bar, the guy at the piano stops playing, everybody looks at the people who just walked in. It's so perfect, and because it's droids, it's
There's
such
so
a
many different
beautiful-
ones.
It's such a beautiful Star Wars moment, and the number of astromechs in there alone. I mean,
Astromechs and protocol droids, they're all over the place. And battle
I
droids.
just-
it's
I
funny
just
to
thought
see
of
them
something.
all.
droids. We got medical droids. We got
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
We
they're
got-
I just
everywhere.
thought of something, and this is a callback to through A New Hope. So
Yes.
they walk into the bar at Mos Eisley. What do they say? We don't serve
we
droids.
don't serve your kind here.
We talked about this.
Your droids. They'll have
No
to
way.
wait outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Jesse
did.
brought it
we,
up
we
like
talked
way
about it like
an
half.
hour
We
ago.
talked about it like an hour ago.
Oh well, we hit it again.
Hang on.
I'm getting- People are coming at me about my short-term memory. Jesus.
Hey, stroke, man, stroke.
No human is sorry.
Well,
Yeah,
Phil finds that.
9:21 p.m. Jesse says not just the men droids, but the women droids and the children droids. Which, okay, again, nice nods
No,
to
that was,
episode 2.
That was him talking about me hating things in Star Wars.
Oh, I know, but still, he's hitting up the same notes. Anyway,
So we're gonna move on. I'm gonna do this a little differently, and here is the actual quote that he said. And this would have been about 30 minutes ago.
20.
So I'm going to mix my segments here, right? So I'm going to go on and I'm going to play the bumper for our next segment. Because my two segments for Starlight Killer Scene and One Chimer kind of correlate. So I'm going to start by playing my One Chimer.
While exploring Mandalore, I was captured, and this blade was taken from me. Bo-Katan rescued me and slayed my captor. She defeated the enemy that defeated me.
So
Again, I'm
nope.
kind
you
of
do
pissed
not,
off about
you
this
do not
one.
get to talk right now. So, so that's my One Chimer, and my Starlight Killer Scene is the 40-minute and 46-second mark with Bo-Katan holding the Darksaber. Now, episode 2, we talked about this. I brought it up, and I said, isn't that kind of a thing that could happen? Isn't that maybe something that couldn't that, like, didn't Bo just kind of get that back? And Phil completely shut me down. I actually have this pulled up. It's on TikTok if you want to go check it out. At Coasting Podcast.
No, that's
Phil
not petty
completely
at
shut
all,
me down with
Josh.
it and basically told me that I was wrong and that they have to be won in combat. Now, the controversy of this. Hang on, I am not done, Phil. So the controversy of this is a lot of people are on your side as they think that there has to be an actual combat here with the Darksaber. But now we know for a fact that you don't actually have to win it in combat. You just have to Harry Potter that bitch and disarm the guy.
Elder
And
Wand shit.
Yes, so it's technically Bo-Katan's now, which now I didn't just pick that because of episode 2 and what went down. I picked it because it's epic. Bo-Katan finally gets the Darksaber back. Yes, it might be a technicality, but she gets it back. And you can see it in her, like the way she stands, the way she holds it, the way she grabs the Darksaber, just everything about that. She's exuding confidence right now in who she is and what she can do with the Mandalorian people. Now, I do want to give Phil a chance to say something, if he would like to say something about this. But he has disappeared from the screen, so I'm guessing
He's probably
screaming.
puking, right?
He's probably.
Sardine
So-
Martini got to him.
Well, maybe he's just out and wants us to move on to the next One Chimer, which we're going to go with Ricky D.
It's no longer your fleet, is it? I'm now in command and grown quite fond of it.
I chose this one because it's what we've been building to all season, maybe for multiple seasons long. And there's also a kind of arrogance and self-righteousness that character has. Did you guys know Axe something?
Axe Woves.
Axe Woves?
Yeah.
But he seems like the kind of person who's comfortable in his position, who maybe was given the position by their parents. Or he doesn't seem like the kind of person who earned that position, and he's just kind of like, I'm in charge, bitches, so what are you going to do about it? Versus I'm going to continue to drive this group in the right direction.
He's middle management.
Yeah.
He got a promotion, and it got to his head.
He's middle management.
Yeah. Phil, now that you're back from your head being in the toilet, did you have anything that you wanted to rebuttal with that last thing?
No, I don't think you were.
Bye, Jesse. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye, Jesse. We love you. No. I'm still kind of pissed that you were correct. That Din chose to view that as a defeat in combat.
I think he
'Cause
didn't do that on I think he saved that.
No,
because he kept
I
asking
think he.
Bo, "What's your plan?" And so the whole time he's like, "Well, if this doesn't work, then I'll just do this."
No,
The ace up the sleeve.
I think
Yeah.
he's playing with a technicality.
Yep.
And I'm kind of pissed that you called it, but
I call
again,
a great
it's
many things.
bureaucrat Conrad is technically correct, the best kind of correct.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm sorry that
I will give you this point this time.
I'm sorry
How
that
generous.
I ruined
I
your
know,
week,
right?
but
Thank you, Ricky.
here I am.
Josh, you got 2 your rights during this episode.
Yeah, well,
That doesn't
whatever.
happen.
No,
If it
not
makes you
very
feel
often.
any better, I am on my 3rd beverage of the evening, so
Yeah, we're moving
I'm-
along. Don't you worry. But Ricky, I loved that was my other pick for this week as well. Was him basically sitting there being like, "Oh yeah, your fleet? I don't see them looking at you." So I really liked his confidence that he had there as well as of like, "Nah, man, we left you. I'm the leader now. Suck it."
Yeah.
So, excellent pick. Let's move on to Phil's one-chimer.
Human life is so short. They don't ask that much of us. Organics created us. It's the least we can do.
Lots of scenes in the bar this week.
Because again, phenomenal sequence. Like everything from the moment they walked into the bar to the whole scene. It was beautiful. But again, the bartender droid just being like, "Hey, I'm here to cooperate with you, detectives." Also, what's up with Din threatening to like analyze
Rip out
shit
his
back at the
circuits.
lab? Like, what lab, Din? What lab?
Did he say lab in this?
He did. He said he would. He said he would analyze shit back at the lab.
I was still dwelling so much on address, I didn't even catch that.
Classic noir detail, man.
No,
Yeah.
it was such an empty threat. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah.
No, but the droid bartender again coming back in and saying, "Hey, we want to help. Like
Right.
the issue that's going on here is bigger than me as an individual, bigger than this bar, bigger than the droid population of Plaisir 15 as a whole." He's out there saying, "Hey, shit's going down. Can we fix it?"
Yeah.
See, I got a more of a feel that he's just trying to give him accreditation to himself that Din can just believe him because he wants this to happen.
Well, then we
That's
go down
fair.
the rabbit hole of are
That's
these
fair.
droids actually sentient or not? Do they have feelings?
Ah!
Do they feel? And that's a conversation for another Quest Me episode, I feel like, because that would be a fun conversation.
That would
we
be a
could
deep dive.
We could do an entire
A deep
deep dive on
Yeah,
droids
absolutely.
in canon and
Absolutely. But excellent pick, Phil. Let's go
Thank
on
you.
to Justin's one-chimer, which is...
The offer stands nonetheless.
What do you think?
You had me at battle droids.
Yeah. Tell us about that one-chimer, Justin, although you are muted, so...
This thing, it's been messing up and lagging.
There it goes again. It's gone again.
womp womp.
All right, we're good.
It's such a you had me at hello.
Yeah, that's what I got. You had me at hello. It gave me a Jerry Maguire feel. Like, I know it didn't try to go for that, but it was really shooting for like the backstory of how Din has this phobia of droids, let alone battle droids from the Separatist movement. And it was just funny to see him just get so quickly gung-ho with no questions asked.
That's like right on my notes. This is just that you had me at battle droids.
Do you just have a Post-it note for your notes?
So because I I was recording. I was not recording. I was watching the episode the first time on my lunch break at work.
Oh, okay. That makes
So yes, I
Like,
was
I just
writing.
imagine you sitting in your living room with little Post-it notes.
I've done it
No,
before.
I'm very analog when it comes to the note taking process.
Sure.
Part of this is just being a writer. Part of this is being left-handed. Part of it is being, ADHD. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do actually do most of my notes, with pencil and paper.
That's awesome. I take like little footnotes on my phone and then transfer them over to the big notes, and it's a process. But
yeah.
Anyway, I do love that pick as well, Justin. That was
So
one of my
good.
favorite lines in the entire episode.
It was just nice and short.
Yeah. I think one thing that we know about Din Djarin is that he was picked up by battle droids at some point. We still haven't seen that backstory yet. We haven't seen the conclusion of who found him or anything like that. So
we still don't have the definitive reason of his hatred for droids.
Yep.
But
we can
moving closer.
All right.
We can extrapolate.
Yeah. So excellent pick, guys. Thank you so much for participating in the segments of this week. Let's move on to the final segment. Of course, the Tusken Raider is the part of the show where we rate the episode out of 10 Lizzos. Ricky, let's go with you first. What are you going to rate this episode out of 10 Lizzos?
4.5 Lizzos out of 10. How dare you make me watch this?
Wow. Okay.
Well,
right,
thanks,
fair.
Ricky. It's been fun. We'll see you next time.
Dang. That's probably the lowest rating we've ever had on Quest Me, period. But that's I think this is a week of low ratings. So, Phil, what's your rating for this week?
I gotta call it an 8. I honestly had no issue with the cameos whatsoever. I honestly thought that Jack Black and Lizzo were an absolutely phenomenal couple, and if they got together IRL and not just in Star Wars, I would not be at all surprised. They are both hilarious, skilled musicians, and just fun people. I absolutely bought their chemistry. I had fun with the whole episode.
All right, Justin, what's your rating for this week?
So,
I'm going along the lines what I have a feeling you'll be. I'm at a 6 and a 6.75.
God, you guys and your fucking decimals.
Make you do math.
I got
the only
shit
saving
going
grace.
calculator, don't worry.
The only saving grace to this episode, I think, for me, were the cameos. I was talking mess about them of how it was too many, three big names, and all really fast hit you, like the 1, 2, 3 combo. But overall, I did not expect them to have a detective noir episode.
Yeah.
To me, Mandalorian is a space western. That is what I hope it to stay and remain. But this one episode swayed me a little bit. So, and it was sloppy written. I thought it was very cartoonish. It's Scooby Doo. It hopped around. It was too, I guess, hokey.
Yeah, I could see it.
I did enjoy it.
And that's funny. That's your lowest rating ever of any Star Wars property that we've ever done. And
Minus Bad Batch.
I guess.
Oh,
nah, I don't think I ever rated Bad Batch lower than 6.5.
See, I'm trying to be better.
I will say the season finale of Bad Batch, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. The season finale absolutely killed that show for me, and I will never watch it again. My rating for this week's episode is going to be a 6. It's my lowest rating for any Mandalorian episode as well. There were some cool parts. I think 3 points goes to the investigation. 3 points goes to the end scene. But the rest of it, it was hard. I got taken out of it a lot. And I will echo a lot of what Justin said as far as like poor writing. It bounced around a lot. I think a lot of that has to do with the directorial view of this. Bryce Dallas Howard is a very new director. I'm not saying she's bad by any means, because the last episode she did, I believe, in Book of Boba Fett was really good. But I think that it kind of showed in this that she's still learning like different things when it comes to directing, just directing in general. And I appreciate that she does this, that she's there, and that she loves Star Wars so much, and that, like her dad, Ron Howard, they are involved in Star Wars. I just think that this might not have been the best episode for her to direct. I think that comes down to just all of it. Just all of it. The writing, it makes it hard for a director to use a poor script. But what can you do? A filler episode all the way. They just needed to get the 1 point across in this, that Bo-Katan was the new leader of Mandalore, and that was it. Nothing else. So the next 2 episodes, I guarantee, are going to be absolutely epic. I'm sorry, Ricky, that you got this episode, but I'm glad you're here.
I have no regrets.
It was a ton of fun. The total for this week is actually a 63%. I believe that is also a record for Quest Me. Wow, getting crazy.
We're being more realistic, boys. I like it.
Crazy, yeah.
I have so many little things I loved from this, though. I mean, the droids throwing up the holographic caution tape.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
Just the
you're taking me out of it though. That's like
sassy battle droids are always fun.
Sassy battle droids. We had Din actually being diplomatic as far as the Ugnaughts went, and very much not. the whole you're kicking battle droids. You're kicking droids is really not helpful.
Definitely the bad cop in that situation.
No, it was fabulous. We had the Nepenthe, which was there was a quote unquote bad batch of Nepenthe. I know.
Not entertained.
I threw that one in my notes just because I knew it was going to make Josh mad.
Good thing I'm the editor.
We got the Alice in Wonderland bit. We got the taser dart from Bo-Katan. The whole fight sequence between Bo and Axes was Axe, not Axes. Excuse me. The whole fight sequence between Bo and Axe was spectacular. A lot of show off of the Mando toys. We got Grogu getting to say, "Hey, look, Daddy, I'm a knight."
Yeah.
And quite possibly one of the best lines of the entire series, which I know I could have called this my one-chimer, but enough Mandalorian blood has been spilled by our own hands.
Yeah, that was a good line.
That was great.
There were some highlights of this show.
There were
some good things.
I can see why y'all have rated it as low as you have.
Well, Ricky just hates Star Wars now. So.
I mean,
I hate things that suck.
So, but all right,
it's Ricky. It's not like we're pulling him in for Cowboy Bebop or something fun.
Well, I think that's gonna do it for us this week, you guys. Next week is gonna be a lot of fun. Gosh, I'm getting way ahead of myself on the notes. Again, Ricky, thank you so much for joining us. I know that it was
a lot of fun.
But yeah, I'm really excited for the Freaks and Geeks episode to come out. Make sure that if you guys are watching or listening, you go to Sudden But Inevitable and listen to those episodes. Ricky, where can people find you? What are you up to? Are you got any new podcast things coming down the pipe?
No, it's really just kind of doing a few appearances here and there. I have ideas, but as far as putting in the work and creating anything, no, I just like to go make off-color jokes on other people's podcasts.
Well,
And-
troll,
and that-
troll.
And that is why we love having you here, Ricky. Like,
You're the
legitimately,
best.
thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been absolutely great to get to hang out with you for a little bit again. Thank you.
Yeah,
Miss you, man.
absolutely.
Well,
so
we will be live again next Sunday for 2 more episodes left of this season, right? But around 8:30 Mountain Standard Time here at youtube.com/@questme.
And I'm super stoked because I got to hang out with next week's guest a little bit last night in person. My buddy Hugh Johnson will be joining us next week. Hugh showed up with us, with Josh and Justin, for an episode of Andor. And it is super great to have him showing up back on the show next week. I am absolutely stoked to get to chat with Hugh. And y'all are going to have an absolute blast with next week's episode regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've heard from Celebration, next week's episode is going to be epic. They did screen this episode for a bunch of people at Celebration, so we got some little bit of tidbits there. But I want to thank the people in the chat this week. We had Claire, we had Jake, we had Jesse, we had Roy, and we had Tim from the FSP
Sinacera was
podcast.
too much of a coward to show up.
We're here, Ricky.
Shots
Man.
fired.
Where are you, Steve?
He could not follow up his own guest appearance on here after
Oh,
you.
man,
Ricky.
we're gonna have to
Come on, man.
We're gonna have to tweet at him, I guess.
No, but thank you all for being here. It's been an absolute blast. I'm sorry, so very sorry, dear audience, that I enjoyed this episode more than any of my co-hosts or our guests. But I mean, there's no accounting for taste.
Yeah, well, anyway, you can find
Lord.
us on all your social media things, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at QuestMe Podcast. I want to thank you all again for joining us this week. If you're listening in the podcast world, I really appreciate the follows and the downloads and all that stuff. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you as listeners and people that continue to support us. I have some big plans coming up. I'm working on them this week, actually. I haven't even talked to the guys about it. I was going to keep it a surprise. So I have some merch ideas coming down the pipe, like some stickers and stuff like that. So I'm going to be really excited to debut those things. But be on the lookout for that and follow us on all those social media things. We are going to sign off. And let's see if we can do it this time. Let's see if we can
Have
do
faith.
it. So
Have
I will start it off, okay, and then I'll point at whoever needs to go next. All right? Are we ready for this? Okay.
But maybe your screen's on a different screen from mine.
I got it. Don't worry.
All right.
For Quest Me, I have been your host.
And this has been Ricky.
No, I'm Ricky D from Best Flicks with Ricky D. Thank you very much.
God damn it.
And I'm Justin, and I have spoken.
I'm Philip K. You can find me at FlipWriter.
And of course, my name is Josh. We will see you all next week. May the Force be with you.